Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this the meeting. Before I start, I just ask if anyone is recording the meeting, and announce that the LakeCAM is recording this meeting. Is anyone else recording the meeting? No? Okay, sounds good. I'll call the Lakeville Finance Committee May 29th, 2025 meeting to order at 6:30. And take attendance.
Barbara Minkowski.
Mike Wright.
Lawrence Costan.
And Darren Beals. Our first agenda item is to approve some minutes from 4 previous meetings. The first one being April 9th. Can someone make a motion to approve minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
I'm glad that they're being done quickly. That's nice.
Yes, thanks to Tracy for
Very
sure.
nice.
Yeah, she's been doing a great job. We're gonna miss her. Okay, so hearing none, we'll vote to approve them.
So moved.
So moved, okay. Go ahead. Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 An aye. Moving on to the next minutes, April 10th meeting. Make a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Any changes? Okay. Let's vote.
All in favor? Aye.
All in favor, aye. Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
And aye. All right, moving quickly. Great. April 15th meeting. Again, make a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
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 All in favor?
All in
All in
favor.
favor.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Finally, our April 22nd meeting. And just for your, Larry, you weren't here. For
I
this
wasn't
meeting.
for that one, yeah.
Okay. So make a motion to approve, please.
Motion to approve? I'll make a motion
Yeah.
to approve.
Second.
Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Aye. Abstain and aye. Thank you. All right, getting the administrative stuff out of the way. Our next order of business is we have a guest, Mr. Michael Smith, who would like to discuss the fiscal 2026 budget with us. So, Mr. Smith, you have the floor. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to meet with me. I know this isn't a regular meeting. I appreciate this, and I think time was kind of an essence. I know I'm here for informational purposes only, just to let you know of the of things that I found by doing research from town hall to government websites, newspapers, in regards to possible savings when it comes to our part-time elected officials. As you know, we pay our part-time elected officials a stipend. We pay 4 committees. We pay the select board a total of $22,995. It's $4,995 for the chair, 4 members at $4,500. The assessors, we pay a total of $5,000, $2,000 for the chair, 2 at $1,500. Board of Health, the chair and members get the same at $2,000, $6,000, and the school committee gets $6,500, and I do not know how that's divided out. So the total for stipends is $40,495. So when I looked at that, I said, I just want to do research on if towns do give stipends, how much they give. I went through, I think at the end of the day, close to 117 towns. And what I found out is that the first towns I looked are the towns around us, the Freetown, the Berkeley, the Middleborough, who do not pay stipends to select board members. In fact, they had asked for $7,500 last year and they were turned down. Taunton obviously does. Then I reached out to larger towns like Plymouth. Plymouth pays $1,000 to their select board members. There are other towns like Canton who pay $1,500, but there are towns like Northampton who pay $6,000. So it really depends on how much money the town has or can afford to pay. And there's probably 50-60% who just don't do it, pay the select board. They did up until COVID, but once COVID came, I think everybody just took a step back. Now, what really piqued my interest in this isn't so much the select board, because they are the governing authority of the town. Yes, they're twice the size of the average town, which is $2,100, but it is what it is. You know, if we pay them, it's paid. But to pay the other committees, the assessors, board of health, and school committee, I only found 2 towns who pay other committees. And once again, Northampton, Taunton. There might be a few more, I don't know, but that's generally not the case. The thing that kind of really, not get me upset, but really piqued my interest is that the town offers health insurance to anybody on a committee. The select board, the assessors, the board of health. The school, it was offered to the school committee, but they turned it down. Now, I can only go back so many years. I don't know how many years, but nobody could find the warrant when this started. So talking to previous people, this has been going on to at least 1998 that this has been happening. Could be before, I don't know. I'm just talking to people who were here back then or town employees who were working back then.
You're speaking specifically about the health insurance, not the stipend now.
I'm just talking about this whole package of the
Okay.
stipends and.
Because health
and-
insurance did go back, but it was a much smaller number. than it is
I'm sorry,
today.
what do you mean by that?
It was being offered in the 90s, but
Yeah, but it was a much
smaller number.
smaller, of course.
Yes.
So then I went out again and looked to see what do other towns do. I really couldn't find anybody who did offer insurance, maybe 2 or 3 much bigger towns. And then I dug a little deeper, and the town of Plymouth, back in 2014, 2011, which was really interesting. Therese Murray, do you know her? She was the state rep for the town of Plymouth. She brought up a bill, number 01346, that says, notwithstanding any general or special law to the contrary, elected officials of the town of Plymouth who receive compensation by vote of the town, which is a stipend, shall not as such constitute employees for the purposes of GL 32B, which is what I have, and shall not as such be eligible for participation in the town's contributory medical, dental, and life insurance plan. So, I'm not quite sure why the other towns don't do it, besides it's a huge number. But Plymouth went further to make sure that it was in a bill so that it can't really be changed unless it goes to the state legislature, which is quite interesting. Now, this is specifically for the town of Plymouth, but if it's ruled upon according to the GL 32B, I'm not a lawyer, but wouldn't that pertain to all towns? If Lakeville, if we were to bring up a bill, if we were to bring this up that we don't want to have elected officials insurance, I would think that the GL 32B would apply to it.
Mhm.
That's just a point of fact that I found out. So there are towns that did have it, and Sandwich was one, and there was another town who had it, who voted by the select board to say, we're not going to do it anymore, but we will grandfather whoever was in till the end of the year, and at which time they can pay COBRA at the full rate plus an admin fee, which is probably fair. But there's just a pattern here that, and I know this happened years ago when everything is well, but we're doing things that other towns aren't doing. Large towns, small towns, offering insurance, offering stipends to smaller committees. And I think you can see what this has cost us so far. We have 3 people signed up in the town's insurance. All 3 are enrolled in the family plan with dental. The the employer contribution is $1,777.40 per month. So if you put all three together, the town's contribution is $62,359.16 for three people. If by chance, and it's, the opportunity is out there, there is a loophole that if everybody takes the family plan, we're talking $265,000 just for the insurance, not including the stipends. Where's that money going to come from? Do you understand my point, Barbara?
So what I think I understand you to say is your issue pertains to elected officials
Part-time elected
Or-
officials.
and they're part-time.
Part-time
Right,
elected officials.
of which there are how many? We have
So
five select board.
there's 11, there's 11 between, the select board, assessors
Board.
and health board. I only have a number of 6,500 for the, are we talking about stipends or health insurance?
I'm just talking about the people that this would be pertaining to. It's a small group. It's basically 11 or 12 people that
Well,
are
yeah,
elected.
it's 11 people, but there are school board members who just get stipends only. They have turned away the health insurance.
Okay, so I was under the impression, and I don't know, I'm not familiar with this issue at all, but I thought that the stipend was in lieu of health insurance. So if the stipend is,
Mm-mm.
no, it's in addition to. Okay,
Because, as you know, and this is the other thing, is that if you don't take the insurance, you get a $5,000 buyout. We're part-time elected employees. You have your own insurance. You're not town employees. Okay? Why are we doing this? I mean, so I get a stipend, we'll say a $4,000 a year. If I don't take the insurance, I get another $5,000 a year. So we're talking double figures for elected officials. But if you take the insurance, now we're way up. Now we're way up as far as cost of the town. I mean, right now, everything included in this new budget, we're talking about $136,000 that these part-time elected officials are getting. So my concern is by offering stipends to these other committees, that has opened up a huge cost to us in insurance. Do you know what I'm saying?
oh, for sure, insurance is going up faster than anything
No,
else.
but I'm saying is if they didn't receive stipends,
Mhm.
our liability would be a lot less. A lot less. I mean, our liability, if we didn't offer that to them, would be the 5 select board. It's actually 4 because one's a previous town employees on a pension, would be $20,000, not including the stipends as far as insurance goes. Because the select board doesn't take the insurance, but they get a buyout of $5,000. So, number one is that by allowing these other committee members to get a stipend, it opens it up to, as I said, a lot more expenses. So I know that nothing probably can get done, but for informational purposes only, this town, we're borrowing money from our savings account to pay for our credit card debt here. I mean, we can't continue this. Even if this was normal around the state, we still would have to look at it. But I can't find anybody who does this. Why are we different? We're different because many years ago, could have been an old boy number, whatever. Oh, let's give money here, let's give money here. We have plenty of money. But times have changed.
Cost of
times
health
have changed.
insurance has changed a lot too.
But I'm just saying that it's costing us the town $136 with a liability up to $300,000.
Have you talked to anybody like town administrator? I know you.
Oh, town administrator, well, the information I got was from Lacey Michael, and I've talked to the town administrator 5 days a week. I'm in his office.
Anybody on select board?
No.
Did they
Because the reason I didn't is because it was brought up last month to talk about a warrant for the health insurance.
Mhm.
2-minute discussion, no, we're not gonna talk about. So
Mhm.
that's what prompted me to say, wait a minute, we can't have this. We can't ignore it. I mean, if you're afraid to either lose it or not lose it, we'll put it in the warrant and let the town decide whether you should get the insurance or not. It should be a town decision, but the only thing that's on the warrant is the budget and salaries for the elected officials. To me, a salary includes your insurance. You get a salary, you usually get some kind of benefits with it. But we're listed in the budget as stipend employees. Okay, they're listed as stipend employees. You can see that under each committee. They're stipend employees. But yet the insurance goes under the town insurance, the employee insurance plan. So would you guys have known who got insurance and how much it was? By looking at your budget?
No.
No, it's not broken out.
That's my point. I wouldn't have known unless I asked, looking at the budget. Once I found out where the insurance was, I said, where is it? And they showed that it's just in the, and, you know, we all work the same. All the committees work the same. We all work very hard, okay? By allowing these other committees to get the stipend insurance, you set a precedent. Why doesn't all the other committees get it? If I came, you were on the select board, Barbara, we worked just as hard, we want a stipend. You're gonna say no? Would you put it towards town meeting? It's just opened up a whole realm of things that, like, put it this way, I hear stories of, well, some of the towns people, the town select board and stuff, well, if you don't pay me, then I'm not gonna be on the select board. And you hear this, okay? And then you would hear worries, oh, well, if we don't pay them, we won't have any select board people or whatever. I'm sorry, if you need to join a board for the stipend and insurance, then don't join the board. Don't. That I'm talking personal opinion here, okay? Don't. There's because this is really hurting us, where this budget is just out of control. You guys have done an amazing job, but it's gonna get worse next year. What are we gonna do? This ball has got to, for me, it's gotta start rolling that we get rid of this. Probably not gonna happen this year,
No.
but it has to start rolling that the only people who get a stipend are the select board. You can lower it, you can raise it, whatever, but there should be no other stipends out there. And we have to get rid of the insurance clause. In the meantime, this year, you can grandfather the 3 in. What Plymouth did in Sandwich, they grandfathered the 3 in to the end of the year, and this was in that bill I talked about, Bill 1346, is that once their term is over, then they can stay on the insurance, but they have to pay 100%. But no other insurance will be offered to anybody else. So that eliminates the liability insurance, and that eliminates the buyout. So if you got the insurance and you ran again and won, you could get the insurance, but you have to pay 100%. So I think that's the way we need to start going. Because if we get, I don't know how many positions are open next year or whatever, but if we get 4 new people and they get the family plan, then we're going to be 180 in insurance. It has to stop. Now, I'm only here to give you information. I've already sent you my recommendations. I don't think it's going to happen. And I know where you are. I know you have a meeting on Monday, but this is just for future that I would like, hopefully, for someone to address it. And I think you're when it comes to the finances, you're the you're the control system here. I mean, you deal with the contracts, you deal with all the committees, but being that you really didn't know about that is concerning to me also. You're the finance committee.
Municipal budgets are very, very difficult. School committee budgets are very, 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 very difficult. So, you know, the fact that there's not a breakdown in the line item.
It should be under each committee. They have the stipend, they have if there's an employee who works in that committee, it also should have health insurance.
This, and in all fairness, I was here at the meeting that you're talking about, where actually, Selectman, Dave brought it up about the buyouts. And you're right, it was a very short discussion.
Oh, it was like, whatever.
2 minutes, right. I agree, I mean, and I don't know enough of the history of this town, but from my conversations in my, whatever, 4 years now, I think I've been here, this has always been available, at least going back to the 90s. At some point, FinCom said, you know what, we're not going to partake in that. I give credit to whatever
School board.
Whatever finance committee came up with that idea. It was a good idea. I don't see why a part-time elected official should have any insurance or any buyout.
Well,
To be honest, if you want to
any
get it, buy it
benefits.
100%, I'm okay with that. We can't eliminate it now. You have to wait till your next election cycle and do it then.
Exactly.
But, you know, if I was to go to work part-time at wherever, you know, any local business here, I'm not getting health insurance. Well, they may be nice and say you can have it, but you gotta pay the full, you know, full freight. So I couldn't agree with you anymore. The budget's out of control. When we're talking about these numbers, you and I discussed it, are minimal numbers. You know, they're small, but if everything was a little small here, and here, we probably wouldn't be in the position we're in. So I agree. My question to you is, have you written a warrant?
I wanted to come talk to you guys first, before I even did anything, okay? Because I wanted your direction, I wanted your advice, I wanted your comments. I haven't, what I was gonna do, because I'm retired, so when I stick on something, my mind spins and my wife, you know, Amy yells at me. I was just gonna bring this up at the town meeting, but I was advised, no, that's stupid. Bring it up to the finance committee, let them know what you're thinking. I mean, I was told that technically, when they bring up the budget and the selectman's salary, or the whatever salaries, that I could put a hold on it and put it for a discussion, from what I understand.
Yes.
But I don't know if that's worth it. Like I said, I don't want to beat up anybody, but I've been at 25 years in this town, love everybody, been involved in a lot of committees and stuff. I know what's going on, I'm concerned about the future, and I'm just afraid right now. And when I see, listen, I don't begrudge these people taking it for those years. Okay? If I was on the Parks Commission, you're gonna pay me? Okay, if you can afford it, great. But those days are over. They're over. And when whoever committees or the select board are making major decisions about people's jobs, or, you know, we have to take money away from the capital committee, or, you know, you tell the fire chief, you can't have this, we gotta lay off someone. I can't all right be able to make those decisions if I'm doing what I'm doing. That's just me personally, people. I know the select board, they're wonderful people. They work very hard, all of them. God bless them. I could never be a select board member, but sometimes we just have to tighten the belt. I mean, we could have a part-time employee who has less rights, town employee who has less rights than a board member. Less rights when you think about it. Because part-time is 20 hours in this state. You have to work 20 hours. Town can work them 19 hours and not give them health insurance. We don't know how many hours how many hours they work. I mean, do we have to change that? Have people punch in? I don't know. I don't want to get into that. All I want to get into is that in the near future, we address this, so next year, when we may have 2 overrides or 1 override, that we clear this up, because we still have people out there who will ask for this on other committees if they think they can get it, and we still have the health insurance where it could triple if the amount of people, if we had 7 more people take it, it would be out of control. That's why we can't leave that door open. We have to shut that door. Because if we just pay this, think about it, if we just pay the select board their stipend, our bill would only be $22,000. Right now it's $130,000. It could go up to over $200,000. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. So, finally, I just want to kind of hand it over to you as far as going forward. I'm glad to help. I have a stack of more research. I'm still doing research. I don't know why, because I'm really enjoying this now. I'm finding out so much about other towns and how they work and everything. But the larger towns who have money in the budget don't do it. So it's just a pattern that needs to stop. These past practices got to stop in this town. They have to. This town's a business. It's a business, and I don't know where any more revenue is going to come in this town next year. I have no idea. But expenses are going to go up. Every dollar is going to count. If you get a $50,000 line item for copy paper, spend 30. That's 20 grand. If you keep doing this, then it's going to add up. Just because the money's in the budget doesn't mean you need to spend it. Just like the money's going to be in the budget for the stipends, the money's going to be in the budget for the health insurance, for the buyout. Good. We approved it. Doesn't mean that you need to take it. Correct?
Agreed.
There's no law that says, no, you have to spend it. So I just went it out in the open about what I found and my concerns, and I know you guys will do the best you can. The Finance Committee is an amazing committee of what you do. As you know, I've done budgets, and it's so much work, especially when you're dealing with, teachers and police unions and everything. It's crazy. My wife's going through a contract now with Taunton. It takes forever. It takes forever.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. There's a lot of moving parts, and especially in this environment. I think from the finance committee perspective, we're obviously a piece of the puzzle. It's a big puzzle. We're a piece of it. And we try to weigh in where we can. And I mean, this is proof that we're not privy to every single detail of the budget, right? It would be almost impossible. So the fact that you come to us and presented this to us, we appreciate that. And it will definitely gives us something to think about, something to talk about. And
I was just by the next fiscal year budget that this is hopefully.
Yeah, well, to me, at least to me, this is now out there, and it's something I'm not going to forget about. And like, hopefully, we're not having the same conversation next year if this is something
listen, it's your decision, I respect it. I don't know how many people know that this is offered. Townspeople, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
I just found out.
Now.
I knew about the stipend. I didn't know too much about the insurance, and that's why I looked into it.
Yep.
It's been coming around. There's been discussions about it.
Yes.
I believe it.
There have.
But discussion is one thing, and doing some action is another.
I think it's a really big deal, Michael, and I think in fairness to the people that do work very hard for this town, that if we did not have the volunteers and we had to pay people to do their jobs, would cost the town a great deal more money. So I'm very grateful for all of the volunteers. I've been a volunteer in town for a long time, and I know what's involved with some of this. I think it's really important that you have the conversation here with all of us, and also eventually with select board and so forth, rather than bringing it up at town meeting.
I'm not going to
this
bring
time,
it up at town meeting.
just because, and I'm not saying don't, but I'm just
No.
saying, like, I think it's more constructive, to have a slow and steady. I feel definitely that if somebody ran for election and was elected for a 3-year term, that whatever was in place when that person was elected remain in place until the end of their term. I don't think you can say a year from now. I mean, we can, and I guess that's up for, future discussion and so forth. But in fairness to those people, I do think that that's something that should be considered.
But you could always raise the rate.
You could, there's so many
From
ways to
20% to
tackle.
50%? I mean, how much, if you work for anywhere, you're not paying 20%, you're paying more than 20%.
I think a lot more details need to come out. I think, first of all, we need a full history. There's people who have that institutional memory, that
That's
would
what I
remember
did, I
how some,
tapped.
right? And to find out exactly how did we get here and why we made those decisions, because every single time I tackle an issue, I can remember Zink. Do you guys remember Zink, who was on planning board? I first got on planning board, I was all about preservation and zoning, condensed zoning and so forth, cluster zoning, I guess, whatever, open space development. And Zink was the one who really explained it to me and really convinced me to go the other direction. And I mention this only to say that sometimes what you perceive as being an error may actually be wisdom. And so we have to gather the information before we get too far along. But I think this is starting that conversation so that we can begin to evaluate the history, why those decisions were made, who it's going to affect, and then of course, obviously how you would execute on making any changes to it.
The number one thing to me was comps. Is this normal?
Right.
What
right.
towns are doing? It's like a home. You get
Yeah.
a compound,
Yeah.
you can't sell it for whatever, which was really important to me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there's a big weight off my shoulders because now I've given it to you.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
No problem.
Thank you for.
It's good, it's good. And your package, I think you emailed that to all of us. Is that everything that you want to include?
No, I'm going to send you more stuff before
Okay.
Monday.
I think it would be important for us to have that as soon as possible so they can be recorded with our minutes. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Because it was a package that we received. So the more information that you have.
Oh, sure.
That would be great.
Yeah,
Just-
they'll get into the record. I mean, obviously it's being recorded, but having
Yeah.
Yeah,
the support behind it would be great.
No problem. And, I'll send you the government papers that I did about what the rules and laws and what other, I have no problem.
Okay.
No problem sending that.
and then maybe someone can invite you to speak. Maybe select board would have you present or something, there'll be, it is a discussion that people need to have. And, you can be constructive.
I hope I didn't seem emotional here or anything.
No. I could tell you were nervous though. You
I
don't like
am
to speak.
because I'm passionate.
Uh-huh.
When I get passionate about something,
Mhm.
I'm either gonna yell and scream or I'm gonna act nervous. So my wife said, don't yell and scream.
Good
Well, you did.
advice.
And it's also a very personal thing with other people, because this is gonna affect other people.
Yeah, we don't want to see anybody. Yeah.
I don't wanna hurt anyone personally,
Mhm.
but this is a business decision like everyone else is making business decisions.
Well, I think over the next couple of years, there's going to be decisions made that impact everybody, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
it just depends who and how much it's going to impact people, so.
yep.
And I
I'm
learned a
just
lot.
trying, my thing is I'm trying not to have the town employees suffer. So like you said, every dollar we save, we could save a fireman or whatever, or save equipment that they need. It can go somewhere else.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you for
I
coming.
really
Very
appreciate it.
informative.
If you have my email, anything you need, I will continue to send you information. You can send it back.
That's all right. I won't do that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
It was good information.
Very good. Next item of business is the capital improvements, is that? for-
Capital expenditures.
Expenditures, thank you.
Yes. So actually, Michael was also on capital expenditures committee, which we had. We did not have a quorum. There were only he and I that were there for that meeting. And I had intentions to understand better. Like in the old days, it's my understanding that, there was a roof that needed to be replaced. Capital expenditures committee would go and look at that roof. Does it in fact need to be taken down or replaced? I think that our new town administrator is doing an outstanding job. It just kind of got pushed back, right?
Mhm.
But it made me uncomfortable to be one of two people voting on things that large. So I don't know who else was supposed to be on that capital expenditures committee. We did approve everything other than the irrigation system. Actually,
Is that a quorum? Two people?
How did you have a quorum?
It wasn't, so now they have to have
Oh, it's a necessity though.
well,
Was capital expenditure a necessity?
it did not meet the criteria, and we have to meet next week
Okay, okay.
again to re-vote on it. And we did vote for everything except for one item, which I believe was the irrigation system for the fire station, or for the police station here. Yeah.
But that's not binding, right? You have to vote again?
We have to vote again.
Okay.
But I just wanted to express my concern that it was just the two of us there, and let you know that we had voted for everything, but that we're gonna have to vote again. So in the future, I think it would be better to have the Capital Expenditures Committee have information in December and January, and then be meeting so that we can have a conversation, ask questions, and learn more about why we're doing this, how many companies were bid. Like, I felt like I had information, and I trust our departments, fortunately, but it would have been nice to have a little bit more time for reflection and discussion.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel comfortable with it, those big of numbers being just us two.
So you're on the capital expenditures for FinCom?
Yes.
Okay. Why doesn't capital expenditure ever meet with us to go over that stuff? In 4 years, I couldn't tell you one person that's on that committee.
No, I think we've always just had a representative on the committee, and they represent us.
You've given me more information about capital expenditure tonight than I've gotten in 4 years. So.
I've always gotten the impression that capital expenditures is kind of like people, yep, good, like there's not a lot of debate
But
or
it's a lot, it's a big number.
No, I understand that, but I'm guessing, I always, and I've never been on it, but I got the impression it was more like a check the box thing, like, yep, we met, we agreed, or maybe I'm incorrect.
I'm a little harder to get along with, I don't know, but I
No,
don't.
maybe
I
you're
think it
asking
was-
questions that need to
I
be
don't,
asked, yeah.
I mean, I felt it was, I felt like it could have been more, could have been a deeper dive into
Yeah.
some of those things. Moreover, because the budget season moves so fast. We're moving so fast. We have so many meetings. We all have jobs full time. I just feel like it would be great if we could have those conversations start earlier in the year. The departments know what they're going to be asking for. They're not waiting till April to know, right? So we need to, I think, if it is capital expenditures, we need to have a look at that stuff earlier. So I just wanted to bring that up with you guys and share my
Okay.
little hand wringing. Well,
Good.
Michael, you're volunteering for Capital Expenditures Committee?
Yeah, I'll switch places with you. You can do the schools. So is
Or
it
regional
just a subcommittee, basically,
Yes,
like of
it's a
other members? So
subcommittee.
like, I guess most of this would have to be vetted, like, when it's presented, like for capital expenditures during the budget, like with Andrew and Mike, like that's when most of this discussion would happen.
They're all in the warrant too. right?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are, yep.
Like we've definitely talked about some of the items on there for sure, but I guess
Oh, absolutely.
that's probably the first time we hear about it.
Yeah,
Like we got rid of the snowplow, and obviously the well came up, and
Yeah.
shifting of funds and stuff like that. So.
yes, yeah. It was also particularly interesting to see, I wish I brought my binder with me tonight of all the nights, when they talked about, you've heard of the millionaire's tax in Massachusetts. On the capital expenditures side, not the school side, I want to say it was like $65,000 that the town had. That was really interesting to know, because that's a big number, money coming in, and it offset some of our capital expenditures. So thought I'd mention that as well.
I think that plan gets forecasted out too. They try to like push stuff out for like 4, 5,
5
6
years.
years.
5
yeah,
years.
yeah,
But it
yeah.
changes every year.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
but that's nice, at least you can
Yeah.
kind of see it coming.
Well, yeah, because I think I'd asked Andrew about like the waste station, that big pile of junk that we're supposed to get rid of. And I was like, are we like required to do this? Because if we're not like required to, and it's not making impact, like, why are we even doing
Well,
it?
eventually we do have to get rid of it. There is something.
There's got to be something.
There,
Yes.
there is, and I don't remember the exact, that was actually one of Brian's big things. He used to ask about all the time.
It has to happen within a certain.
It has to happen within a certain amount of time, and they're kind of chiseling at it a
I
little
think they
bit.
say the current rate would take like 30 years,
Yeah, he said it was-
25 years.
I think
yeah.
it was even longer than that.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
something.
And eventually,
It was
it's just going to
something,
be this
yeah.
massive.
Franklin's
item.
going to be retired by the time
Yeah.
it's gone. So,
Well, I'll be dead.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate when you have to spend money to get rid of something instead of like building something, right?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
and the worst part is that the problem with it isn't that it's because it has some piece of aggregate in it.
Yeah.
So out of that massive mound, there's probably 55-gallon drum worth of aggregate in there. Really? What's the aggregate doing here? I don't understand it, but I don't want to get into the environmental stuff because people will already think I'm crazy. But yeah, it's a big to-do and it's a big number.
Yeah.
And it's taking a very long time. So Yeah, I think capital expenditures should be a little bit more in the forefront, but I mean, we do have that 5-year plan in our budget, we do see it.
We do.
But there isn't a lot of conversation about what's most important to do. You know, I think Route 79's been on there, I don't know how long.
Yeah, it keeps getting delayed.
It keeps getting delayed,
Yeah.
delayed, actually, there's a meeting
Yeah.
about land takings or something
Yeah.
like that coming up. So, yeah, I think, you know, these budget items keep, you know, getting pushed out for 5 years and then another 3 years and another 5 years and, but yeah, the more information we have, the better. And I think sometimes we get caught up on wants instead of needs, you know? Do we need an irrigation system or do we want an irrigation system? I love an irrigation system. But come August, Mike Brass is gonna be brown. I know this. So we move on. So I think there are other things, especially when we're dealing with budgets like this. So I agree with you. I would think it's the best thing for us to do.
Anything else on that topic? Okay, and the last one, did I write this one down? Capital improvements?
That was the capital improvements.
That was
Or the
expend-
capital expenditures committee, I'm
Yes.
sorry. No, the last one has to do with the school committee.
That's right.
So, Chris would remember, that I had suggested, so I was in a networking group, I'm no longer in the group, but I was in a networking group and there was a man who did business optimization, which means that he comes in and their company evaluates your expenses and sees where they can save you some money. So I said, well, why don't you give Bob Nunes a call over in Lakeville, see if maybe trash disposal, whatever, is there any way we can save some money? Bob was great. Bob was so busy, but he did refer him over to Jack Higgins, right, for a conversation. Now, it's my understanding that the company, and I don't care who anybody uses it, there could be a million business optimization. I have no idea how that world works. But at the end of the day, we're talking about saving money, and this company couldn't get a phone call back. 8 phone calls is what I'm understanding happened. And Bob Nunes took the time to make an introduction. So he took time to meet with this person, felt there was value in it, and referred it over to the school committee. And there was no connection made. Now here's the rub. Bridgewater Raynham did sign up with this company. And the numbers that they're gonna be saving are huge. And I'm not gonna throw numbers out there, but they're huge, just in trash alone. So it bothers me that we have opportunities that we're not fully exploring that have been already recommended by our finance chair, at the time was Chris, and also by Bob Nunes, our town administrator. So I don't know what to do about that, but it does trouble me. And I know Jack's very busy and I'm sure I know he does a great job, and I'm not trying to push, I'm not trying to, throw shade. I'm not trying to throw shade on anybody. See, I'm hip. You know what I mean? I got some style. But I definitely feel that there's an opportunity that's being missed, and would be happy to resend information if anybody thought it was helpful.
So do you know who he's trying to reach at the school committee? Like
Jack
Just
Higgins, I
Jack
think, was the
Higgins,
person
right,
he was
so-
introduced
directly, and
to.
he's just not responding.
That was my understanding.
And without giving numbers, it obviously more than pays for itself. There's a cost
Way
to hiring
more.
these guys, but
Yeah, you don't pay them anything. And
How do they get
it's
paid?
like a contingency based, so they come in and they evaluate your costs and then they monitor for 3 years. The reason it caught my attention and the reason I mentioned it was because the name of the company, which I think it's Schooley Mitchell, they are affiliated with the National Federation. I'm not going to get the name of the organization right, but it's like the National Superintendents Organization. So superintendents from all over the country have obviously had some interaction with this company and decided to align themselves with
Yeah.
them. So that's worth a look.
I'm wondering if the school committee doesn't want an outside
That's exactly what they
party
want.
involved.
Well,
They don't want
obviously-
someone else going through their books. They already had a stroke when we brought it up with the regional school FinCom with.
Well, I think
person
it's
said
rude.
that.
I'm just gonna level.
I don't
with
disagree
it's
with
rude.
you.
It is rude.
You know?
If you don't want to, and I'm not, again, I'm not trying to be mean, but like it's a professional job. If you are getting a phone call, you can't respond. We're not able to deal with it right now. We don't have time, whatever. It's not going to happen. But if Bob News felt it was worth a look, then that to me says it should have had a look, especially before we're going to come and ask taxpayers to raise their page, raise
Yeah.
the bill.
Do you know when this was done last year? There's been a lot of change, obviously. with
There
the
was a
school
lot of
committee and the
change going on.
superintendent and the finance directors. Like, do you know what
Yes.
role Jack was in at the time? Was he the finance director?
I don't know that he was.
Or
I
like,
don't.
because this could be, I don't know
It
if it's
was
something that
somebody
needs to go to
else.
Jack again, or if it can go to the new super, or whoever the super ends up being.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I don't know,
Or
but
both. Like, we can, I mean, Chris and I can definitely bring this up again when it's, or like directly to them at the regional finance subcommittee.
and I just want to
once
be clear,
we're
like I have
nominated.
no investment as to who we use.
Right.
All I'm saying is that if there are companies that do that kind of work, maybe there's an opportunity there.
At least do the due diligence.
Yeah, to ask some questions.
You say it's based on contingency, so let's say, they say, oh, we found you 3 million in savings, and they, over that 3 years, they monitor it, then we own a percentage of that 3 million in
That's
savings.
correct.
That's, listen, that's a no-brainer, you know?
Well, Bridgewater Savings just, Bridgewater Rainham, now I just said it out loud and I shouldn't have said it. They're gonna recognize some pretty significant savings, just in one category, made my jaw drop. So that's where I was really like, wait a minute, why are we not thinking about this?
Yeah, the school district can definitely use some, and you know what, all departments here in the whole town can, and I'm sure Freetown probably can too, but the school department, without a doubt in my mind, can find more
We're gonna
places
get
to
the
move
biggest
money.
bang for the buck.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the fact they don't want to, you know, whether they don't want to or haven't, or maybe it was
Let's
because
give them the
of,
benefit of the doubt.
give
There's
the
been a lot
benefit
of
of the
change, a lot
doubt,
of
because there has been
change.
changes
Yeah.
there, but I'm just saying is that for the most part, in the last regime that Chris and I, when we worked with Freetown, there wasn't a lot of willingness to, let's sit down and go over our books. That wasn't, you know, there was asked for an independent audit, that got shot down. I mean, there was a lot of stuff.
That was probably happening at around that time, because that's when Bob was here.
Yeah, so all of that stuff, you know, and so they may just be one more thing, and I think now with the new changes there, maybe we can get that, some of that push, but I can't see any reason why we wouldn't do that. It doesn't cost us a dime to do it, and they only get paid if they save us money. Listen, if they could save us 3 million, I'd give them $1 million gladly, all right? So, you know, I think it's a great idea, and I don't know who else we go to other than get together with Andrew and have Andrew start rattling some cages, or talk to Chris and have Chris rattle some
Sounds like
cages.
you and Chris.
Yeah.
will
Yeah,
bring it up
Chris,
and-
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming Chris knows about this still. Like, he's going to be all over it, and I'll be there with him. So,
I don't know, I haven't heard about this from Chris, so,
we'll just we'll
Yeah.
bring it up. So,
yeah,
I think
But
Bob had it for a while, you know what I mean? Like it was more at the TA level.
yeah, it's right. So if we can pass this same type of information to Andrew and get Andrew and that committee like, working together, we should be able to get momentum on it.
Mhm.
Again, like I mean, our committee got derailed too because we lost our chair when Crystal got censured, and then all of our meetings got canceled. Like you said, the audit got pushed. It hasn't been completely tabled, but it just keeps getting pushed down the road because we haven't really had a committee.
There was
so-
an internal audit,
yes.
yeah. I wanted a
Well,
forensic
Sure.
audit.
Yeah.
Anything else on that topic? Okay, thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Any other new business? No? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
And aye.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.